Today, we're diving into one of the most powerful books out there on self-improvement, Atomic Habits by James Clear. In this explainer, we're going to break down its huge central idea, how really, really tiny, everyday changes can lead to some truly amazing results.
So, let me ask you something. Have you ever made a New Year's resolution, you're super motivated, only to find yourself right back where you started a few weeks later? If you've ever wondered why it's so darn hard to build good habits and break bad ones, you are definitely not alone.
But what if the problem isn't you? What if it's not about a lack of willpower? Atomic Habits suggests the secret isn't some huge life-altering action. Nope. The answer is in something much, much smaller. What James Clear calls atomic habits. These tiny little changes that are actually part of a much bigger system.
Okay, so let's start with the first huge principle. The incredible, and honestly, kind of surprising power of just getting 1% better every single day.
You know, we often just dismiss small changes, right? Because they don't seem to matter that much in the moment. But as you can see here, those tiny improvements, they compound over time. They create this massive difference between getting just a little bit better or a little bit worse each day.
And the math behind this is just wild. If you get just 1% better each day for a year, you won't be 365% better. Because of compounding, you'll be nearly 38 times better by the time the year is over. It's incredible.
And that brings us to this brilliant quote from the book that just nails it. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. Just like money grows with compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you do them over and over.
So, if small improvements are the key, how do we actually make them happen, consistently? Well, that brings us to the next big idea. We need to focus on our systems, not just our goals.
So what's the difference? Well, goals are about the results you want, right? Like, I want to win the championship. But systems are the processes that lead to those results, like your practice routine that you do every single day. Goals give you a direction for sure, but it's the systems that actually get you there. See, just relying on goals can be a real problem. Think about it. Winners and losers often have the exact same goal. And reaching a goal, it's just a temporary change. If you clean a messy room but you don't change your messy habits, that clutter is just going to come right back. This leads to a huge insight. If you're struggling to change, the problem isn't you, it's your system.
And this leads to one of the book's most critical takeaways. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Your system, that collection of daily habits, that's what really determines your success in the long run. Okay, so let's dig into how this all builds to maybe the most profound idea in the whole book. For habits to really, truly last, you have to change who you are. You have to change your identity.
Most of us, we try to change from the outside in. We start with the result we want, like, I want to lose weight. But the most effective way to change is actually to start from the inside out. You begin by focusing on the type of person you want to become.
Here's a perfect, really simple example. Someone who says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit smoking." Well, they still see themselves as a smoker. But someone who says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker," see the difference? They've started to change their core identity, and their behavior just naturally follows that new belief.
So how does a habit actually work in our brains? Let's get really practical here with the simple scientific model behind every single habit, the 4-step habit loop. Every single habit you have, good or bad, doesn't matter, follows this little feedback loop in your brain. It all starts with a cue, which triggers a craving, which motivates a response, and finally, that response delivers a reward. Let's just break that down real quick. The cue is the trigger, right? Like your phone buzzing. The craving is your desire, your motivation to see what the message is. The response is the actual habit, picking up your phone. And the reward, that's the satisfaction of reading the message, which tells your brain, hey, let's do this again next time. Now, here's the best part. We can actually take this habit loop and turn it into a simple, practical action plan. This is what James Clear calls the 4 laws of behavior change. To build a good habit, you just have to work with these laws. For the cue, you make it obvious. For the craving, make it attractive. For the response, you make it easy. And for the reward, you make it satisfying. And hey, if you want to break a bad habit, you just flip it. You do the exact opposite for each step. Simple.
This final quote ties everything we've talked about together so perfectly. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Each tiny, daily habit you do builds the evidence for your new identity, one vote at a time.
And the best part is, you don't need some big, complicated plan to get started today. You just have to ask yourself this one question to guide your choices. What would a healthy person do? Or what would a writer do?
In the end, real, meaningful change doesn't require some radical action. It just requires starting small. So I'll leave you with this. What's one small vote you can cast for the person you want to become today?